Welcome back. Today we are looking at the 2024 Pageant of Steam hosted in Berryville, Virginia by the Shenandoah Valley Steam and Gas Engine Association. We're going to take a look at the parade. The noon whistle was started and kicked off the parade. What a great place. If you have not been, please look it up. Awesome place to visit. Thank you for an amazing show. Much more of this wonderful place ahead.
They use oil to cool these engines rather than water, and that's one of the reasons that a lot of these runway oil pools survive to this date. There was no danger of it freezing up in the wintertime if you forgot to drain the water out. So a rather unique design. They were built in LaPorte, Indiana, and we appreciate these guys bringing that out and showing it to us again this year. It's probably been 15 years since that tractor was on these showgrounds. Regular here. Probably built an old heavyweight design. This is actually considered their latest design. If you look at the frame rails, you can tell that they were stamped out in a huge stamping mill. Some of the older ones will have more of a channel iron frame to them, similar to this steam engine that's coming up here in front of us. This is a brick engine built in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. The size on this is 8.5 by 10. It is rated at about 16 horsepower, which is the old way of rating horsepower. It's owned by Dave Frederick. And it looks like, yeah, that's him at the throttle there today. Glad to have you, Dave. Dave is a longtime member of our organization here at Shenandoah Valley Steam and Gas Engine. He's got, got his dad on there helping with the duties. When you stand up on a brick, I can't see the faces. Single cylinder engine, steam engines are very smooth to operate. They underrated these engines by about 2/3. So they were developed 3 times their horsepower. They had to allow full water quality and more power. They could just about guarantee to get 16 horsepower out of it. It's a very, very popular sized engine in its day. Really good for pressure, really good for salt. Next up is a unit owned by the Ireland family. Michael and Matthew and part of the family on there. Okay, Michael's on there today. Very good. He's doing the main engineering duty. And this is a 1914 brick, 8 by 10. Just a hair smaller than the one in front. Not much. Just a couple less horsepower. These steam engine owners, I get my tongue untied here, go to a lot of expense. And a little show of the whistle. Most of the engines, when they were actually being used and operated, would only have one whistle. The Ireland family chose to put several on there. All right, next unit here is a 1923, I believe. This is also a brick engine owned by Steve Giles on Hill, West Virginia. This is one of the very few twin-cylinder steam engines you will see. A steam engine is unusual in that every time the crankshaft moves, it is a power stroke. So with the steam engine, it both pulls on the piston and pushes on the piston. They are considered an external combustion engine. So the heat and the pressure is generated outside of the engine. It's then introduced by the valve chest. And that way, every time that connecting rod moves, it puts power to the wheels or to the flywheel. This brick was rated at 2060, and that's the drawbar. and the flywheel, very smooth running. It'll sound more like a V8 under load. You don't hear it do the chuck, chuck, chuck like a lot of steam engines. Thanks for bringing it, Steve. Got Chelsea Angus on there and several other family members. All gathered around. Most of these steam engines you'll find are being operated by one complete family. Next one up here is Aaron Benedict and some of his family, an extended family. Aaron has been involved in this group and also in the Somerset Steam and Gas Engine Pasture Party down in Somerset, Virginia for a number of years. This is a 50 horsepower Case steam traction engine, single cylinder, rated 50 horsepower on the engine, a little less than 20, probably about 18 or so on the drawbar. Very pretty engine. Case built more steam engines than all the other manufacturers combined. They were kind of like the Model T Fords of the steam engine world, but you'll see a whole different design in these engines. They're more of a Western design. They sit high. They don't generally have a subframe under them. The engine itself and the drivetrain is mounted to the boiler, but thanks to Aaron and the family for bringing that out and sharing it with us. Next unit here is an engine that's rather unusual to this area. It's owned by Mr. Buddy Hale from down close to Somerset, Virginia. Part of that group, they bring several units up and display here, and we try to reciprocate when it's time for their show later on. If you get an opportunity, get over by the steam engine area and talk to some of these folks. There are a lot of steam shows around, and if you enjoy going to these things. This Ford Huron was built in Michigan, and it is a compound cylinder engine. If you look at it, it actually has two cylinders, a smaller one mounted in front of a larger one. It was thought that gave more economy in the use of steam, a very unique valve arrangement on those engines. And they've done a really nice job of keeping it going. Part of the McIntyre family is on there engineering for him today. And we appreciate them coming out and keeping that engine going for all of us. Next unit here is actually owned by the Shenandoah Valley Steam and Gas Engine Association. This is one of the things that your money, when you come and donate at the gate and buy food and participate with the vendors, this is what it helps to support. This one was owned and restored by Charles Lee Hetzler of Pittsville, West Virginia. Some years ago, he had a new boiler installed. Charles was a machinist, did a lot of work on it, and he decided he was ready to part with it. We were able to purchase it from his family. Got Eric Crossfield, one of our members on there today, doing the engineering duties. He's been caring for the engines most of the weekend. A couple of the others to give him a break every now and then. But, that little engine had the reputation of being called Super Brick. It's part of that reason. It's a little 8.5, rated at about 18 horsepower, 16 horsepower when it was due. And Charles took some pains to custom set the valve on that engine, giving it a lot more power in forward. And it does a really nice job in the tractor pulls. Still does a nice job threshing and sawmilling. Really nice little engine to operate. Thanks, Eric, for bringing it out. Next two units are Clean-Track General tractors. These tractors were only manufactured just about 3 or 4 years. Clean-Track company built crawlers and eventually was absorbed by Oliver, but when they wanted to build a rubber-tired tractor immediately following World War II, this is what they designed and came out with. And right after World War II, you could sell almost any kind of tractor you could build. So it's assembled from parts that I believe Hercules engines in. Very similar to Alice Chalmers in the rear end transmission. About that size of the tractor, a lot of small Alice C tractors. This pair was formerly owned by Wayne Godlove, one of our long-term and founding members, and now owned by Eric Clem. But they're owned by the Clem family and brought out here to demonstrate this. Next unit here is John P. And these three tractors are part of our featured equipment line of the Orphan Oddballs and Shortman. General only made those tractors a few years. Silver King was another one. They made them a little bit longer, but that was about the only thing that they made were the tractors. This is a 1948 model 42, and both by John P. Done a really nice job of restoration on the unusual tractors. You don't see very many of these. That was considered a late model period. Next one here in front of us is J.R. Coates on 1939 Alice Chalmers Road Grader. Alice Chalmers made a good many of these considered to be small road graders. Sure J.R. would say that it's not small to haul on a low loader or try to get those around. But if you look at the design on that thing, it's got that big monotube frame through the middle there. Caterpillar had a whole different design, so did John Deere later on. This is how Alice Chalmers decided to build them. They were very durable, very good, and a lot of county road departments use these in their maintenance. Where you already have road hills, needed to raise shoulders, gravel roads, back roads. Next year we did not have rain on the floor, like already John Deere, what's the name, they were real nice looking 730 diesel, following long timing. At the time, that was tested out in Nebraska tractor test. One of the most efficient diesel engines on the market. Alright, next up here in front of us is also part of the Ireland family. This is a 4010 John Deere, built in 1961, so that thing's the same age as I am. That's getting old. And I need about as much maintenance as that does. This is a big tractor, not the biggest, but it's the big road crop tractor John Deere in the early 60s. They came out in 1960 and introduced them. It's revolutionary for the time for John Deere. That's what they did. From the two-cylinder engine and the propane motor. Next unit up here is owned by Jay Blue family. Got Jay in there overseeing Jeremiah. This is a Case LSL. 30, 36, 37. This was a big paper tractor. That's what they very, very small and tractor very similar to that. Did something directly in the Shenandoah Junction, West Virginia. Next one here in front of us is Jamie Tangle on 1956 Oliver Super 55 in Winchester, Virginia. Nice job of restoration on that little Super 55. They were a real popular tractor. Has a lot of features. You can get them as gasoline or diesel. This looks like a gasoline version. Has 3-point kit. You can look at those NAM. A lot of those had power steering. They were also offered in the state road department to do roadside mowing. Next one here is Ryan. We'll set this one up. So, Prairie, West Virginia. This is a 1969 Cadence. David Brown, model 990. This is the bigger size. Probably in the mid to late 70s. Cadence needed some mid-size tractors, and they didn't have a lot on the drawing board, so they paired up with David Brown. They also bought out David Brown bridge built tractors. And they ended up being a real good tractor. They sold a lot of them, especially in this area. And a lot of orchards turned to the David Brown, and they're very cool. Next one here. This is also owned by Michael Ireland. Of course, family on there operating. This is a 1951 Ferguson called T-O-1. That's the American version of the 180 series tractor. They also made a British version, and then they were T-O-20. This is a smaller size of the Ferguson tractor, and that's still not carrying Ferguson company. That was after he and Henry Ford Wade, and Harry Ferguson came out with this, and it was long before his merger with Nancy Harris. A little history there on how the company all together. Next one here in line is from Mitchell Tractor. This is a 1916 Nancy Ferguson 12. Nice little long tractor. If you look at it, Nancy Ferguson made the sheet metal, and it really looked like their larger tractor. And going to the red hood and silver belly, their tractor was all Alexander, 1930, cat, different, quite different. shooting through it, then the tractor left. It is the Case 600 diesel. That's the big standard tread case tractor. If you like to pull it, it's the first year pulling for that particular tractor. And it was built in 1957. Good looking tractor. Judy had some pulls with the tractor. And her partner Kevin Long is following right behind. He's the one that actually does most of the work and tuning on the case tractors. They have several, and they're camped out right behind our announcer stand. So we get an opportunity to back there. This is very unusual. Kevin is the window jumper in a 1938 case, Model L, and it's got a, as far as he knows, that's a factory type cab that's built on that tractor that on their systems do. It has side curtains, which a lot of times they got removed and thrown away. That cab is really nice to have when the weather's cool, but when the weather's hot, it's not so nice to have. And that one has the big lighting kit on it, which is a little unusual to find today. Here in front of us, Abram Darren, Fort Valley, Virginia. This is a Massey Harris 23, and it was built in the early 1950s. Massey built I thought, a sleek-looking tractor. The way they did the sheet metal, a little flathead, I believe it's flathead. Usually use the Continental engine in Massey tractors. They're really Massey Harris tractors. Right behind him is Marcus there in Fort Valley. This is a homemade log skidder. It has a Model A Ford engine and AA transmission, which was the big ton truck transmission. One in front of the other, so he can get a super low gear reduction. One transmission feeds into the other, and it's still got the Model A, so it's not putting out a whole lot of horsepower, but you get a lot of pull out of it. And that's a very innovative way. Considered at the time old used part and make something very useful. Next up, I always thought this sort of tractor was very futuristic. It looks like the tractors. Most of them were diesel. They also came in gas versions. Ford built the engines. They built the old tractors. This is Tim Stevens from Fort Valley, a 1961 Ford 6000. Now that one's got the selective speed transmission, right? And they were an innovative transmission in their day. I think they're about 12 speed, maybe a few more. And you could shift on the go. You could select it, and then step on the clutch, it would automatically change to the next gear. The old Ford mechanic said it was terrible to keep that adjustment working right. When they did, it was very neat. You can see how quickly he could pick up and go. Next year is from Tim Stevens, Fort Valley. This is a 1970 Earmark International. It's a model 826. This was originally what they called a gold demonstrator. So if you look at that tractor, the hood, top of the hood, and the fenders were actually originally gold color. International did demonstrate them all from time to time. They did it in the early 50s, they did it again in the early 70s. The 1950s models were painted white, red trim, and the 70s models they were painted gold. And they would, the dealers would order them in special that way. They would take them to the county fairs and equipment shows and all that kind of stuff. Ag product days, things of that nature. Let the prospective customer operate them, and then they would sell them at the end of the year as demonstrators on a little discount. So they're very, very collectible today. People search high and low. Here in front of us is Lauren Lyman from the 1951 Model CC. That's the tricycle version. They also made this in the wide front, which is just the D. This is one of the bigger size case tractors of the time. A little smaller mowers, sickle bar mowers. He's ready to take that to the hay field and start mowing hay with it. This was the smallest of the Waterloo style tractors where the engine sat crossways in the frame. The cylinders actually lay down and the head is towards the front end. The little Model H is only put out about 9 horsepower at the drawbar. Not a real big engine, but they were very fuel efficient in the day. Very neat little tractor to drive and relatively comfortable for a small deal like this. You've got a little bit of room there. Move around and get yourself in the right position. Unusual to see one with the mower. Next unit here is a really nice looking Case 730. Looks like he did not get us a parade registration number, but he's done a really nice job of shining that tractor up. Got the Eagle claw hitch on the back. That was a Case exclusive. I'm going to guess this was in the early 1960s. 62. This was a bigger size row crop tractor. 4-cylinder. Case typically built their tractors pretty heavy for the horsepower class. You didn't have to add a lot of weight to them. Long stroke engines, they didn't turn a lot of RPM, so they had a lot of torque. That's the way they like to build their tractor. This is about the time that everybody in the industry started to try to build a tractor that's comfortable to be on the operate. Right behind that, the little Alice Chalmers Model G. And looks weird because they are weird. But they are highly sought after. They have the engine in the back. Drivetrain, transmission is the same as in their Model B and Model C tractors. A little pipe framework in the front, and that's exactly what they were designed to do. We've got cultivating. They have a little plow they can pull. There were a lot of implements that went with these. They were geared towards the truck. Much like this farm-off Cub. Now it's got the one row planter on there. A little Cub. 51, 1951. Right. The little Cub had a little 4-cylinder flat head international engine in there. The Alice Chalmers in front got a little bit tiny continental flat head. Either one for that model was right in that model. Cub with a little single bottom plow. Row cover there. Right here in Berryville, Virginia. This is a Cub Cadet Model 7. Very, very popular little long tractor in their day. One of the heavier built ones. Cub Cadet. They have considered to have more mobility than the front of the last motor. They actually use the same transmission center section of the rear end as the Cub. Very, very unusual unit here. And the tractor's now different too. But this is Billy Sanders back again. This is a 1962 DW6. Next up is Eric Crossfield. He got off the steam engine and got one of his own things on his boat. He's from Hillsborough, Virginia. This is a 1945 Minneapolis Moline GT. This was the largest tractor Minneapolis Moline was made right at that time. Big 4-cylinder, long stroke engine. Minneapolis also built some rather heavy tractors. Very, very popular to draw mower work and for powering threshing machines, sawmills. Minneapolis tractors were pretty fast on the road. They were kind of like an international. You get them things in high gear, you better have some room in front of you for them to take off. They can run down the road and very often would pull the pressure right behind you and move from farm to farm. Next unit here in front of us is Jay Blue, again with Jeremiah, driving one of their Carmel Cubs. This one was recently given to the boys by their grandfather, and they had to do some work on it, and they selected a few implements for it, and they have learned to plow and can do a little cultivating with it. So they're learning the old school way. Not many farms actually plow or cultivate. And they're learning, and that's a good sized tractor to teach young operators. Not a lot of horsepower there. And they're from Shenandoah Junction, West Virginia. Next one is Mr. James Blue, and he's on an Alice Chalmers WD. James' great-grandfather farmed in Ohio with a tractor very, very much like this. The Alice Chalmers actually has two clutches on it. It has a foot clutch and it has a hand clutch. And they're in different places. The hand clutch is actually in the right-hand axle housing. And they designed those tractors specifically for pulling a baler. So as you're going down the field and it's time to kick a bale out, you pull back on the hand clutch, which stops the forward motion of the tractor, but you let the foot clutch engage, and it kept the PTO running. That's an innovative way. It wasn't quite a live PTO, but it's pretty close to a live PTO. And Alice built their tractors a little bit lighter, used a lot of high-strength steel, where a lot of the other manufacturers use more big, heavy cast iron pieces. 4-cylinder engine, they would turn a good many RPM. This particular size tractor is very popular with the tractor pullers. Turn those engines up. And James is 12 years old now. He's right here by himself. Can't quite pull by himself yet, but he can operate the tractor by himself. He's grown up on the dairy farm. That's his dad's brother in front of him. And Paul has to come through backwards. That's tradition with Paul. He also has physical chain, and he used to run his door for a time. This is Model D John Deere. This is owned by Jay Blue with that. Actually, it's owned by him. She claims it's her tractor. Paul says he gets to run his race. This is Mr. Kenny Pruitt from right down the road here in Boyce, Virginia. This is the Super M farm hall. It's out of 1950, 52. It's off by 2 years. And right behind him, he's pulling the oldest known operating brick steam engine. The engine was built in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania with the other brick, same plant, just a lot sooner. That engine was built in 1878, and that's what's called a portable engine. It did not power itself down the road. You had to have a couple teams of horses to move that from job site to job site, and it was used mostly as a stationary power unit once it was on the job site. It was real good for powering the small grain threshers at the time. They were way smaller and a little different design than what the grain thresher is down here. You'll see threshing our wheat and doing that sort of thing. It could pull stationary baler. They used them a lot. At that time, you had to saw all your firewood in the fall to be ready for winter time, so they were also very popular. A small engine like this could be purchased by what they would call a co-op, which would generally be a group of farmers in the area. They would all go together and purchase an engine like this, and then they would share the use of it. They would all pitch in together, help each other do the work they need, and also do maintenance on the engine a little bit later. So this little engine is a survivor. It's owned by the Shenandoah Valley Steam and Gas Engine Association. And Kenny has been a long-time member here. He's not as agile as he once was, but he's still out here doing all he can for us. So we appreciate him and all the effort that he puts out. He's been our parade director for many years, many years. Thank you, Kenny. Thanks to everybody else. I believe that looks like the end of our parade. Hope you enjoyed the parade and some of the commentary and a little bit of the information I threw at you. Not that you'll remember any of it. Maybe you didn't care. But we try to have a good time and provide people with a little information to take home. And maybe you'll remember Granddad talking about one of those units. Don't be afraid to go over and talk to these folks. You'll find that they are very down-to-earth people, always glad to talk about what they